Hello, everybody. In wireless land we all live in now, and being cooked and fried, and we don't even know it. Remember, I was in the Marines in the early 70s. I was a radar technician, and I didn't know anything about this. And then,
what's your name?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, the guy you just said that is Ken. Ken Von Folsom. He's a international IEEE electrical engineer, and we became friends about 3, 4, 5 years ago. I can't remember now. So he's running the camera. I'm doing the gabbing. He's the brains behind it. I mean, he helps me figure things out. I can't because I just detect wireless. Anyhow, I was in the Marines in the 70s. I was damaged by the radar because I stood right next to it all day long. But also I have a degree in physiology. Physiology is functions of the human body and how it works. And had I not had that, I wouldn't have understood what happened to me after being exposed to that much radiation. So it's been a long road since the 70s. I've been 13 years fighting the utilities to stop them from doing all the wireless. Anyhow, so we're here today to...
What's your phone number?
Thank you, Ken. So it's Joe Esposito, Esposito, area code 918-274-8111. It's a landline. You got to let it ring 7 times if I'm not there to leave a message. It's an old landline. I don't have wireless things because it hurts me. And I sleep in a Faraday cage, and that's exactly what we're going to show you right here in a minute. So I've been at it and still at it, working with trying to tell people what's happening. So we ran into a situation that we're in right now, standing in the room where life and death has taken place. And so we want to show you that how wireless is escalated now, and it's out of control and damaging your health. All wireless damages your health, no question about it. So we're going to have two video 1 and video 2. This will be video 1 to show you the damage and what happened, basically from the wireless, and then we'll give you the documentation on the second one. Okay. So we got the meters. This is Safe and Sound Pro 2, Safe Living Technologies. It's got a directional antenna, which means we can comb an area and find out where the radiation is coming from. And this is a Safe and Sound Pro 2. It's green, yellow, orange, and red. Red's bad like hell, and green is good. The Lincoln green's even better. And I've been damaged so bad that I used to have to wear a suit, and then I'm in a Faraday cage now in a room that has this metal aluminum screen wire you can buy at a hardware store. There's one here in Oklahoma, Tulsa, called M&M. You buy it by 4 foot by 100. Used to be $50, now it's $200. And you can make a room out of this. You can cover your room. You can do whatever, but it helps block the radiation. And then you read it with this meter or this meter. This one's the better one, and you can tell how bad the radiation is where you're at. Okay, that's real important. So we're going to try to give you a little education here first before we tell you what happened, so you can understand what it all means. So this Faraday cage blocks the radiation. Kissinger used it at the Moscow 7-story embassy back in '76 because the women were dying from breast cancer, the kids had leukemia, and 3 ambassadors died from cancer. So he went there and he covered the windows with aluminum screen wire. That's where I learned to do it. Let me try to take it off the bed. Because
ella me enamoró. Es una diabla bien vestida, ella me enamoró.
But it's radiation. Someone put it in the Faraday cage.
It'll drop down slowly tonight into the 50s. The wind's diminishing.
What happened? I put it in the cage. I put it in the Faraday cage, and it went quiet. Right? You don't hear it anymore. What happened? The Faraday cage is blocking the radiation. All right. And I watch. I'm going to touch the antenna with my finger.
99.5, country's biggest legends.
I took my finger off. So the radiation is on me. It's conducting. I'm conducting the radiation. We all are, but we don't even know it. Okay? We'll do it again. Here we go.
Pretty fast.
Okay. So what we're trying to show you is there's radiation around all of us now. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And we can't even detect it. We don't even know what's happening. And there's health issues to all of it out there, all right? So that's what the meters are for. That's what we're reading the radiation. So you could build Faraday cages around beds and houses and all sorts of things to stop the radiation from getting to you. Or you can build a room and you can sleep in it safely and you won't have health issues. So the thing is, it all causes health issues. Okay, so now, okay, I'm going to turn this radio off. Okay, so that's just to show you that the radiation is here. It's out here, it's everywhere. And there's health issues with all of it. Okay, so now we're in a situation right now where we're in a bedroom with our meters, and there's some things happened to a small child in here. The parents didn't know it, and the grandparents didn't know it, because they couldn't measure anything. They don't know. So let me just run through the list of wireless devices that this child was subjected to. And it was a very, very young child. Okay. There's a Roku TV over here. It has a device on it that it was running my meter. Okay, remember the green meter? Okay. So these meters measure a little differently. This one helps us define. This one tells us how bad. This will go to 2.5 million. It's an older meter. The new ones are, I think, 3.8 million. But what that means is the meters are for you, so you can understand that the radiation's there. But when these meters hit 2.5 million, that means it could be 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million. I don't know. And the higher the radiation readings, the more sick you're going to be, and the health consequences will be more damaging. So this Roku device that I'm telling you about, we just measured. Here's the TV. This is right here. Right here is a crib where the small child slept. Right here, okay. And so this Roku device hung over the top of the TV, and it was on all the time at incredible levels of radiation. And if mine measured 2.5 million, it could be 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million. I don't know. Unless you have a better meter, they don't go that high. Okay, so that was one radiation source. Then the parents had cell phones. They slept with them. That was kind of in and out. Cell phones are measuring 2.5 million nowadays with this meter. So that's two other problems. Now we have a smart meter. All the utilities. This is AEP PSO right here. And there's Oklahoma Natural Gas where we live. And AEP PSO is American Electric Power, Public Service Company of Oklahoma. Then we have water meters. Okay, so all three utilities, water, gas, and electric, are all transmitting right here on this property. Okay, the smart meter is there's a closet and there's some clothes over there. And if you take a measuring tape and you measure from the box, the breaker box, to where the baby was, or child, young child, it's 7 feet. Okay, they're 3 watts. They transmit court documents 14,000 to 190,000 times a day, and they go miles. They travel, and we can read that meter with my meters. That was another problem. Okay, then we have a cell tower, 0.2 of a mile over this way. Just astronomically bad, and we can't read it physically in here because of the smart meter device that's going on outside. We'd have to have it turned off to measure the cell towers radiations coming in also, just to let you know. Okay, then the child was being exposed to Cox had a router here. The Cox router was about 50 feet or less, maybe 45, over in another room. And what we've learned by reading this for a couple of years is Cox would have, when you bring a router to your house, they would have a neighborhood router they'd also have. So there were 2 routers. Routers were measuring 2.5 million, which means they could be 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. The city of Tulsa has water meter, 125 feet out this way. And then the Oklahoma natural gas, the water meter is transmitting every 15 seconds. The Oklahoma natural gas has their gas meter out there, and it's transmitting every 15 seconds. And they go for miles, okay? So the utilities are guilty of all this wireless. And what's the sad part is, they used to come to your house and read the radiation. Well, when wireless came along, they decided, okay, they're going to do wireless. And they know there's health issues. They just kind of gloss on over it and don't do anything. But so the utilities are all making money now because they don't have to send a truck and worker out to your house to read your meter. So they're making a lot of money off not having to do that at your expense because there's health issues to all this wireless coming with what they're doing. Then we have satellites now. And I don't know how much, what the number is. It keeps going up all the time. If there's 20,000 or 60,000 up there that's going around, the satellite is wiring. That's like Elon Musk. That we've read routers in people's homes in the country. They're really bad, and they won't let you turn off their router. So that's another problem you're dealing with. And so the crib, was right here, and the child was getting bombarded with all this wireless. But nobody knew it because nobody had meters, and nobody understood it and didn't study it and didn't do it and didn't have a degree in physiology to understand what physiologically it's doing to you. So we're here to help you see that this is a bad situation for everybody here, and for the public in general. It's just overwhelming to see how bad it all is. So, the parents of this child were there were some other things that were involved in the case, but we believe the death of the child was caused by wireless because of all the different sources. You'd have to come in here, and maybe I'm not a high-tech source guy to read. We can hire the high-tech guys if you want them, and they'll come in and show you the same thing. I mean, this is really bad radiation. So I mean, we can I don't know if we can stop a second and we'll plug in this Roku and I'll show it to you. Okay, let's turn it off for a second. Okay, so we're going to show you this Roku router thing. I just plugged it into the wall. This TV sat here, the crib was right here, and this thing was going on all the time. Okay. So this meter reads radiation, right? You can read that. It's 1,910,000 microwatts per meter squared. A minute ago, we read this at 2.5 million. So what makes it pop up and lower, I don't know exactly. But still, a million, almost 2 million is very, very high. And for a young child to be radiated at that level is amazing. And it has to be life-threatening. Okay? And so let me show you, I'm going to unplug it a minute. So I unplugged it. It'll take a minute for it to die. It's going down. Okay, so now we're down to 291. Okay, 153. Okay, so just a little more education. So the guys who determine what the safe level of all this radiation is back in 1947, Herman P. Swan is a physicist that came from Nazi Germany. The Americans, after the war in Germany, Americans took half of the scientists and the Russians took the other half. So this gentleman came to the Department of Defense and they asked him what was the safe level of radiation, because back then radiation was just basically starting. They used it, for airplane bombing and all that kind of stuff. And, hey, I understand all that. But what he said was, when he did his estimation of what was safe, he really wasn't, he said, he thought there was just thermal heating, which, means like microwave was heating. And he said that was the, he set a standard. He was a physicist, right? And it was the wrong standard 78 years ago. So today, there's another guy named Dr. Paul Heroux, McGill University, Canada, that works with live human cells. Herman Swan, in the documents you'll see, used inanimate objects, non-living objects. The FCC standard, where they take the SARS, standard absorption rate, where they take a dummy plastic thing, head, and cut it in half and lay it there on the table and fill it with water, sugar, and salt. There's no biology in it. And that's the way the 96 Telecom Act was written. No biology, right? We can show you all that. Okay, but today, with Dr. Paul Heroux, who is a physicist also and who knew Swan, is telling you that thermal heating, there's thermal and non-heating. There's thermal and non-thermal. And today, we know now from Dr. Paul Heroux, you don't have to have heating. It's just being exposed to any amount of wireless radiation will damage your health. So this whole thing has been misinformation, basically, and lies since Herman P. Swan. And so now everybody's, we got Fitbit watches, and that's just an amazing thing for me, because I try to tell people from a physiological standpoint, your red blood cells go down the arteries, past the Fitbit watch, to your fingertips, to the arteries and capillaries, and they have to squish up and go through to get through, and then it goes from the artery to the vein. Then when you move your muscles, it pumps back up, right? And so I try to help people see they're cooking their red blood cells. When the radars came out, remember, I worked on radars, and I was taught, the electronics, and it was a magnetron. Do you realize that Magnetrons were put in microwave ovens in the early days, and they called them radar ranges, and nobody would buy them, right? Well, they still, as I say, same thing today. They're still magnetrons, and they're still causing health problems with all this. And so people don't know it. I mean, when we go measure houses, this meter measures magnetrons really well, and say the microwave's here in the kitchen, and there's a door here, and I can walk out the door and maybe go 100 or 200 feet out into the yard reading that microwave oven. And so when I went back in this day that I was doing this, I told the lady to put a cup of water in the microwave for 30 seconds a minute. And because I asked her when I went back in the house, I said, what's on the other side of the wall of the kitchen? And she said, well, it's my little girl's room. She had 2 little girls, and they were small, and her husband and I were back there. And so she walks in, and when she walked in, I said, did you bring a fork? And she said, what for? I said, to see if your little girls are cooked. They're right behind the microwave oven. It's going 360 degrees everywhere. It's damaging people's health. And then our cars now are all transmitting, basically. Ken Wan has the ability to go in there and punch a few buttons and usually get it turned off. Not all of them, but most of them. And the apartment complexes are really bad because they got all these smart meters on walls. There might be 20 or 30, and there's somebody living on the other side of that wall. And so there's going to be terrible health issues. You can't have a smart meter on your bedroom wall and be healthy. You can't. It's wireless. They don't want to say that. We'll show you the documents later, but we just came to this room to show you the damage that took place and the damage to this child, and the parents, in my opinion, were mischarged with what happened because nobody understands about wireless radiation. All right? So thanks for listening. I hope this didn't sound too confusing and hard for you to understand. You can call and talk to me if you don't understand it. But we're going to show you the documents at another time. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Good afternoon. Joe Esposito, Wausau, Oklahoma. Phone number 918-274-8111. It's a landline. So you'll have to call and let it ring 7 times if I'm not there. Ken Von Folsom is here. He is a international IEEE electrical engineer. We've been working together for like 3 or 4 years now. I'm not sure of the timeline. And so we did a video yesterday. That was part 1. This is part 2 today because we didn't have time to explain the documentation. We were just at that site where that child died. And so we wanted to make that presentation for the lawyers and the judge and with all this because it's not being recognized at this time. So we want to do that presentation now, the second part today. And so if you want to look, we're going to show you these documents now. I'll move out of the way and if we can scan them. These are just a few of the books and a few of the documents. I've been doing this now for 13 years. I was in the AEP, PSO, and the Oklahoma OG&E cases at the Corporation Commission 13 years ago. Okay, so we're going to start. So I'm just going to run over here real quick and I'll be back there in front of the camera to show you what we're doing. This is the Banner newspaper out of Adair, Oklahoma. And I published 153 newspaper articles in this. I was always on page 4. And I had a title called The Meter Man. And I would take these articles, it was a weekly, and take it to the state legislators when they were in session, like February to May, and hand out the newspapers. And like this is like on one page, page 4. And I had a lady in California do the cartoons for it. I had them, not all of them, some of them. But it's just like this cartoon here. It says 900 megahertz and 5G. And this is the military. They're weapons. They're being used for weapons. And then here we come now using it for consumer devices and saying they're safe, for small children and stuff. But just to let you know, and then I had 27 YouTubes up. And it was titled Meter Man. Okay, so I'm going to grab a few books. Okay, so this is Robert Becker's book called Dirty Electricity. As you can see by all the markers, the back half of the book is very detailed on how all this radiation came about and what's happening, and people that started it, like Herman P. Swan. He came from Nazi Germany, and after the war, Operation Paperclip, and he went to Pennsylvania, and they asked him how much is safe for humans, and he made some assumptions. And one of the things, let me just share, one of the things he always said, this is a picture of him actually, and his little model, everything he did, is my understanding, is inanimate. There was no living biological tissue involved. And that's the problem with the whole wireless system we have today. It's all based on thermal heating and has basically nothing to do with biology. Okay? All right, so Becker's book's real important. Then this documentation is this guy Paul Broder, The Zapping of America, which gave another perspective of basically what was happening. Then there's the microwave debate, and that was just a lot of good documentation. This is the 5G crisis that came out. Josh DeSole had a videotape. You can still pull it up online. It's called Take Back Your Power, back in 2013 or so. It was about an hour long. And he documents the damage from wireless and what happened. And in that video is a dark field microscopy. That's where you take a drop of blood and you look under the microscope at it. And they put some people in front of an analog meter, these electric meters on your house. It measures your electricity. And they were okay. But when they put you in front of a smart meter for, I think it was 2 minutes, their blood looked like it went through a blender. So after I saw that, because I was doing dark field, I quit dark field and bought these wireless instruments to measure the radiation. And that's where I got started. That's how I got started doing all this. I also have a degree in physiology. I was in the Marines in the 70s, and I was a 5951 tech, which was a radar tech for a TPN-8 radar that landed aircraft. Okay, this is Jerry Flynn. This is a very comprehensive book. There's 20 chapters of the damage of all this wireless in here. We got to know him pretty good. Yeah. So see, there's the 20 chapters, and he's very good. He was a weapons expert, right? He retired electronics warfare. So these aren't just people's opinions, right? Joseph Mercola, the EMF asterisk D about 5G is telling you, and he's telling you about the damage of wireless and how that happens. There was a guy named Arthur Furstenberg who wrote The Invisible Rainbow, A History of Electricity, which is really should be required reading for everybody, because electricity and all these things have not been very helpful as far as your health. Well, make life a little easier, but not your health. Okay, that's a good book. This is another book, Dirty Electricity, by Dr. Sam Milham. He was telling you about what happens with electricity and how it damages your health also. Okay, so those are the books. Those are just kind of get you started. And then recently we've been working with and following Children's Health Defense Fund. That was Robert Kennedy, the vice president that was running for the presidency. This is his group. This was in 2020, 11/04/2020. This was filed in court, District of Columbia, against the FCC because their standards are really not standards at all. It was like, I think it was 15,000 pages. This is just one document that I got produced. His lawyer is Scott McCullough, and you can see here Robert Kennedy. And after they had three judges, and after they presented their case, the three judges ruled the FCC had to redo their standard, which really wasn't a standard, and they've done nothing since 2020. Okay, and so then this is another case by Children's Health Defense, December 31st, 2025. I just wrote on it to make it a little bigger so you could see it. This against the FCC, again, and it's urging them to do something with the first case they had 5 years ago. And then in one of the presenters in this case was Dr. Paul Heroux. This is a picture of Dr. Paul Heroux. He's McGill University in Canada. There's his email and his phone number. I'll just give them to you real quick. It's Paul Heroux. It's Paul Heroux at mcgill.ca. His phone number is 514-767-5556. He's also he filed in this case that just happened, just to hear, a month ago or three, to December 31st, 2025, urging that the courts get the FCC to do what they were supposed to have done 5 years ago. And Dr. Paul Heroux is a physicist, just like Herman P. Swan was, only he is a biological physicist, and he works with human cells that Swan never did. And he shows you the damage, and basically he's saying, no amount of radiation is safe, right? Okay, so we'll go on with a few more documents. So this was a very interesting document that came out January, I think it was the 21st, 2020. These are engineers, IEEE engineers, just like Ken Wan. Ken Wan's an international. These guys are more in the state of India country. But they're talking about electromagnetic radiation due to cellular Wi-Fi, Bluetooth technologies. How safe are they? So they looked at that, and let me read to you what they came up with at the end. It's very amazing. So here they said, I'm going to read it for you. Conclusion: people should be made aware that the EMRs from using daily today cellular Wi-Fi Bluetooth devices are harmful to your health, human health. Hello? The levels of radiation observed in most cases, such as phone calls, internet browsing on laptops, smartphones, using wireless routers and hotspots, Bluetooth smart watches, and smartphones are unsafe when compared with radiation levels determined by medical bodies. According to the current medical literature, various adverse health effects from exposure to RF EMRs have been well documented. For now, wireless technologies must be avoided as much as possible. New and innovative wireless solutions which provide the same level of user friendliness should be encouraged. Intervention of government and medical bodies with the main purpose of protecting human health is the utmost necessity to ensure good economic development without compromising the health of the population. Countries must adopt the guidelines suggested by medical bodies which take into account both thermal and non-thermal, because all these years they've only talked about thermal, with heating. And Dr. like Paul Haro is telling you, you don't have to have heating. We never did. It was all smoke and mirrors, even during the 1976 legislation where they put all these cell towers in, started coming in. So at present, all individuals must take preventive and protective measures to protect themselves from harmful EMF exposure. Those are electrical engineers, IEEEs. Okay, I have several letters. First, I went to Dr. Gregory Govett here in Oklahoma City, Midwest, and he wrote me a letter telling me about the sensitivities because I was in the Marines and I was damaged. And so I used to have to wear a full suit that was $2,000 to help protect me because I was so bad. This is from my attorney, a friend, Don Powers in Edmond, constitutional attorney, telling you about myself and how I have to wear protective clothing. And so people understand. So when they see you, like at Sam's one day, somebody called the police in Owasso, and they had a SWAT team come out, and see who I was, I guess. And, it was kind of an interesting ordeal. This is Dr. Jim Meehan, MD. He's a friend, very close friend, and I was helping him learn about radiation. And he tells you the symptoms: headache, brain fog, cognitive problems, anxiety, dizziness, tetanus, exhaustion, difficulty breathing, tingling in the hands and legs, heart palpitations, sleep. Okay, and so these aren't utilities telling you this, right? The utilities don't want to tell you anything. They want to try to cover up what they're doing. And it was like we talked to the Tulsa County Water Department yesterday, and we were asking about their water meters that are wireless. And the young man said, well, this is radio frequency. Radio frequency. I said, well, that's microwave radiation. They mislabel things. This is the NMRI, Naval Medical Research Institute. In 1971, they came out with 2,300 studies, 5 pages of health symptoms. Now, I don't think these are a bunch of conspiracy guys, since they're our government. But you can go through here and you could look at the 5 pages of health symptoms caused by this radiation we're talking about here. Okay, there's Joseph Mercola. He's a doctor. Most of you know him. This is a 7/6/23 dated. Uncontrolled experiment, how smart devices are damaging kids' brains. And he goes into an explanation of all that, how that's happening. And then there's a video out there. There's a Marine named Jimmy Gonzalez. He was a Marine and then became a lawyer. He was standing before Pembroke Pines Florida city council meeting one day, and he was showing them. He holds up his left hand and says, "I held my cell phone in my left hand. I put it in my left jacket pocket, my suit," because he was a lawyer, and he put it against his head, left ear. So he holds his hand back up, and he says, "They cut. You can see the scars. You cut the cancer out of his hand. He had cancer in his hand. He had a left aorta bifurcation tumor, which is cancer, and he had 3 gliomas in his head. They had to cut out, and you can see the scars. He's dead, 45 years old, right? I mean, and the title of the video is "Cell Phones Cause Cancer." You know, that's, I mean, what more do you need to know? Okay, so then we have, so now we're progressing more to where we are today. But there's several documents now. Children's Health Defense is trying to do everything they can to stop all this, because we're to the point today where they want to just throw all the laws away and let the cell tower industry just do what they want to do and how they want to do it. That's insanity. We don't want any of that. So this is some of their documents. This is 5G in your health, in the environment. This is Environmental Health Trust. Okay, and this is 704 No More. They're trying to help stop uncontrolled placement of cell towers. And this is another document from them. The science is unsettling. You can see that. And then this came out, Spring Cleaning Your Wireless World. And then it goes through all the different things of how to help limit or stop the radiation, right? And then there's another document they've got out, more cell towers, more radiation exposure. And it's just getting out of hand now. But you have to remember that the standard that Swan presented is the problem. And that just was not true damage to what was happening. And Dr. Paul Harose now is telling you that, yeah, that was all wrong back then, you know, back in 1947 when he did what he did. And it's just kind of gotten out of hand, and we're still at that point now with what's happening. Okay, so more studies, more studies, more documents. This is scientist Martin Paul. He was, I forget the award he was supposed to be receiving. 2007. He wrote a letter to Governor Jerry Brown, and he was able to stop what was happening with wireless at that time. But Martin Paul's very much involved with all this. You can see that. And then the Bioinitiative Report 2012. This is April 8, 2022. And they came up with like, there was like 1,000 pages, and the science showed back then it was like 3.4 microwatts and lower is, is not safe. And so remember my meter that we saw yesterday, this was the meter here. And so remember green, yellow, orange, and red. So green means it's pretty good, pretty low. And then red's really bad. In most places today where you go around, you see it's all red. So they were telling you back in 2012 that how bad it is. And then this is like an article, cockpit electromagnetic fields may be harming pilots, the U.S. military fears. And it was a good article because there's so much, radiation from all this wireless stuff. It's making things a lot worse. and wireless just kind of keeps growing and going places. This is electromagnetic radiation, wireless privacy and surveillance. That's who was it? He was worked for the government. He was I'm trying to remember his name. He was standing there in his office, putting a golf ball. His name slips me right now, but he says we're going to spy on you through your dishwashers, right? And they can say there's articles where if you're running Wi-Fi in your house, you don't need to. They can see where you are in your home and what's going on. So it's become a big thing. And there is I have a document. I think I'll look and see it here. We may find it. It's called ONZO. They collect information from your smart meter, from the utilities, and they can go through it and build a profile of your family, of who you are and what you're doing and all that stuff. Well, I'll see it on Zoho. We'll see. This is like another document. Effect of coronavirus worldwide through misuse of wireless sensor networks. There's a lot of interesting things like this that are around. So wireless has just become an invasion of privacy. This is the United States patent, nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields for monitors. This doctor, Sharon Goldberg, MD, she did a presentation to a group, and she was telling you the devastating effects of the wireless and health concerns, the whole list of, this is like the Navy document, 5 pages of health symptoms, right? And remember, we showed you what the cage we had with the radio, AM, FM radio. The public can't. Your senses can't feel this stuff, and so you're just like a lab rat with these people, okay. So this is a very interesting document. This is Dr. Paul Dart, MD. He took off 6 months with I think 5 other doctors, and they did a PowerPoint presentation on health effects of microwave radiation exposures. Now these are not conspiracy theory guys. They're trying to help people understand, but every time people try to expose what's happening, they try to debunk it or cover it up or whatever. So this in his document. This was the Moscow embassy. It was like 7 stories, 53 to 78. The Russians were trying to tell the Americans, you guys are just way too high on your radiation, and you're damaging people's health. And so to prove it to them, the Russians radiated the embassy for 25 years. Women were dying from cancer. Kids had leukemia. 3 ambassadors died from cancer. So Kissinger went here and put the metal aluminum screen wire over the windows, right? That's how I came up with the idea to build a Faraday cage to help people see what was happening. So this is really a good document, and he has as you look through his document, he tells you there was like where there was a cell tower. Like this right here. So here's in Spain. Here's where the cell tower is. Then they told you about all the health issues from being at different distances from away from the cell tower, right? It's well documented. Then let me see if I can find the one I was telling you about. This here. Here's Onzo. This is the thing I was telling you about. So here's this document here. How big government wireless made us think that cell phones are safe, a special investigation. That was a very good story. This was April 23, 2018. So here's the article on Onzo. I think they're still out there. This was December 7th, 2016. We are Onzo. We help energy utilities globally to build better relationships with their customers, serve them with more efficiency, and serve them in a more efficient way. How do we do this? We take energy consumption data from the smart meter, that's the electric meter on your house, and sensors. We analyze it using a patented algorithm and build a highly personalized profile for each and every utility customer. We then tag this profile with the key behavioral, attitudinal, lifestyle characteristics that we identify. We even tag the appliances that we see being used in the home. We then use this characterization profile to give utilities three things. One, customer engagement apps that educate the end customer, build levels of trust, and ultimately reduce customer churn. I didn't know what churn was. That's anger. I thought that was interesting. Two, a detailed description of each end customer that helps the utility provide more appropriate services and high targeted sales campaigns. Three, the ability to monetize their customer data by providing a direct link to appropriate third-party organizations based on the customer's identification characteristics. From a very thin stream of energy consumption data, Onzo delivers significant business value for a little more than the price of a cup of coffee. So there's Jerry Flynn, I think, had an article, and also let me see, yeah. The utility down here, this is Jerry Flynn's document, 2016, imprisoning children and teachers in microwave classrooms is a crime beyond belief. The U.S. militaries have long known that the most harmful microwave frequencies, are those within the band of 900 megahertz to 5G gigahertz, 900 million to 500 billion hertz. For they penetrate all organs and organ systems of the body, thus putting all human organ systems at risk. This is precisely why these frequencies are used in microwave weapons of war. Renowned scientists such as Dr. Neil Cherry, Sam Milham, Robert Becker, those are some of the books we cited earlier, and others have long said that any man-made radio frequency radiation, no matter how weak the signal, is hazardous to humans and all forms of life, especially pulsed microwave radiation. So, that's just, so Kim Wan and I, we go into people's homes, and if they want to hire us, and we'll go in there and help them identify all their wireless radiation, because obviously you can't tell where it is or how it's going to affect you. So we go in and help you do all that, and we help you do Ethernet, just like those Indian IEEE said. This is a document where firefighters, you can go to their website and look under their health issues, and they are fighting cell towers. This was an article, April 25th, 2022. And in Tulsa, there's fire stations with this. Okay, this was interesting. When I was at the Corporation Commission, and these the utilities were filing these 5G filings or 10K filings, this was kind of a comment they made. Management cannot predict the ultimate impact of the question of EMF exposure and adverse health effects. If further research shows that EMF exposure contributes to increased risk of cancer, I think with all these documents and what's happening to people, there's no question that that's happening, or other health problems, and we've already talked about that, or if the courts, which that's already happened with Robert Kennedy, conclude that EMF exposure harms individuals and the utilities are liable for damages, and they should be, or if states limit the strength of the magnetic fields, those are the power lines that they dump so much electricity down through them. We have another pieces of equipment that can measure power lines and how bad the fields are coming off those. And today, they build houses under them. That's amazing. To such a level that the current electrical delivery system must be significantly changed, then the results of our operations and financial condition of AEP and its operating subsidiaries could be materially affected unless these costs can be recovered from the customers, and they want us to pay for it, right? And they've caused it, and we've told them, and they've ignored it the whole time, ever since 2013. It's amazing. Okay, so here we have, this is Jerry Flynn, an email to Margie Alfonso. She was 91, good friends of ours, and she was avid about stopping this also. And in this letter, it's kind of interesting. He emailed. He was talking about, trying to help stop it all himself. I mean, help people understand. So Jerry Flynn was a good man. Okay, so we came across, or we never did, a satellite. There's satellites. I don't know how many thousands now are up there, but this is Elon Musk's satellite, Starlink, and look at the frequency, 5.25 to 5.25 gigahertz, right? And then you read a little further down, saying, they don't want you to use this thing near airports. High-powered radar is allocated at this primary user of the 5.25 to 5.35 gigahertz bands. These radar systems can cause interference with and damage of this device. So they're telling you you have to be careful. This is Starlink. This was one small. We had a piece of paper from the lady we helped, and there was a piece of paper. It's about 3 feet square, and the lettering was so small I had to take this to Office Depot and blow it up so I could read it. So this is what they're doing. Okay, so basically that's. We have a few more here and we'll be done. We went to John M. O'Connor's house. This is the letter on November 17th, 2021. We went and read his house and helped him to kind of see. He was the acting attorney general, I think, back then. And so there's several things we tried to help him to see with what was happening at his house. There's this was the utilities. This was they were putting smart meters on Tulsa campus, TU, Tulsa University, and those places are hotspots because you have 6 meters on a wall and somebody's living on the other side, and you can read the electric meters going through a house. You can go on the other side of the wall and read the radiation, and people can't because they don't have meters. And they get very sick and they're hurt from this kind of radiation, right? And so they had a picture of me this is the first Faraday cage I built, trying to get away from it. And I had huge health benefits. I had like 15 different things that were happening to me, and I made this Faraday cage, and it was really important to see. Okay, so remember now, Herman P. Spahn kind of messed up back then, intentionally or unintentionally, but we're suffering from it now. This is Children's Health Defense TV. It was a radio broadcast with C.J. DeMarco and Greg Glasser and Dr. Paul Heroux. This is the physicist guy. And so I went, this is so valuable, I went and had somebody transcribe the video, and this is the transcription of it. But he's telling you the damage that all this is doing to us. This is Dr. Paul Heroux. I think I already gave you his phone number, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's his, resume. And what he's telling you is you have mitochondria in every one of your cells, and lots of mitochondria in the cell. The mitochondria make ATP. That's the energy that makes your body function, adenosine triphosphate, and the electron transport chain. And any amount of radiation will disrupt both of these things. And so that's what he's trying to tell you, and that nobody is telling you anything physiologically like that except him. And so that's why he's included in Children's Health Defense document. And so back in 2020, I was overseeing a trust back then, and I came up with this document, which helps people understand what the radiation levels are. There's a power density, radio frequency, power density, volts, and all that. And my meter is right here, microwatts per meter squared. And this is like what Herman P. Swan suggested. This is the level of radiation was safe, 10,000 microwatts per centimeter squared. And that equates in the readings we're using as 100 million microwatts. Obviously, that's a little high, and it's causing a lot of damage because now they know that only in the bioinitiative report that 3 microwatts and lower will damage your health, right? And so this is just a good example. And then it documents how George Carlo, who was the intermediary between the Congress during the passing of the Telecom Act and the telecoms, and he tells you, let me just read these real quick. Carlo said, so back in '84, the two key agencies were the FDA for the devices and EPA for infrastructure. Both of those agencies preempted either pre-market testing or post-market surveillance because at the time it was felt. Now felt is a really scientific term, right? No, it's a presumption without any proof that the power was so low for cell phone transmissions that there could not be heating, and without heating there could not be health effects. This was totally wrong. This is what's been done to us, Okay, Carlos at 27 minutes. This was a documentary called Zapping of America. And I talked to this lady, Elsa Bean Jamal, and asked her if I could pull these quotes out. She said I could. Okay, so at 27 minutes, but the FCC's job as a commission was fair and equitable use of spectrum. The FCC was not a policing agency, had nothing to do with safety. Hello. Had nothing to do with safety. I mean, this guy's a lawyer, epidemiologist. Had nothing to do with monitoring. Carlo at 31 minutes. We were sort of caught in a difficult place because some of the claims that were being made about health effects were so severe that had there been pre-market testing, cell phones would have never made it into the marketplace. Okay, so I rest my case. And thank you for listening, and pray for that family that we're trying to help right now. And thank you. God bless.